Hari Om. Hmm. Going through the 20 qualities of a jnani, the fourth quality that we last studied was forgiveness. The quality of forgiveness also appears in the 35 qualities of a devotee of God. So, the quality of forgiveness can be interpreted from an intellectual perspective, can also be interpreted from a devotional perspective. Firstly, what we studied in the 13th chapter, where there's no question of anybody forgiving anybody. Because if I were to take the stance that I have to forgive somebody for their actions, I might unknowingly assume an air of superiority, as if I am the forgiver and you are the forgiven. So there's no question of anybody forgiving anybody. Therefore, you must understand that every being, whether it is an animal or it is a human, everyone is helplessly operating on their own vasanas. Vasanas are your own, the seed of your personality. They define you, so you are bound to be what you are based on your vasanas. How much ever I may try, even if a person who is trying to change himself, it will take a while that you change your personality. Let's say if I decide today that I want to change my physique, will I be able to change my physique overnight? If my physical body, which is gross, takes X amount of time to bring about a transformation, the mind and intellect, which is a subtler aspect of your personality, it will take that much more time. The vasanas, which are subtler than the mind and intellect and the body, it will take far more time to bring about a change or transformation. So even whether you wish to change, you will behave the way you are because of your vasanas, because vasanas will take time to change. Even if you are willing to change, it will take time. So if I were to assess each one of you as a helpless victim, helplessly expressing your own vasanas, and if I make a true assessment as to what you bring to the table, what is your personality, what is your character, what is it that you are, it would not be difficult for me to align my expectations to what you're offering. It shouldn't be difficult. And once your assessment is right, once you align your expectations to what is being presented, it becomes a very healthy relationship. You will be able to align yourself to what the other person is offering, and you will have no mental accidents. You will exactly know what they are. You will exactly know what each one is. You know what are their strengths and weaknesses. I was mentioning, there are people once in a blue moon, or once in 3 weeks, once in 2 weeks, they go through a mood swing. Suddenly they have that mood swing that comes, and then they're not the normal self. Those few days they are very different than normal self. When you assess them, you understand that there is a mood swing that they go through. So you are prepared, you anticipate. It's like you know what's the kind of weather, you know the kind of terrain, you know the kind of people. For example, you're going to a particular place, you know what to expect. You wouldn't be surprised. What I'm trying to say is, once you understand people as their vasanas, you wouldn't be surprised. So you will have a perfect harmony with them. So forgiveness from an intellectual perspective is to understand that everybody is helplessly expressing their vasanas, make the proper assessment, align your expectations, and relate properly. So there's no question of me forgiving you or you forgiving me. That's the intellectual interpretation of forgiveness. The emotional interpretation of forgiveness is to understand that everybody is defined by circumstances, opportunities, knowledge, which has molded anyone to be what they are. If I am a man of words, if I am illiterate, because I have got a certain exposure. If somebody is not a man of words, if somebody is not as literate as me, I can only understand that that chap did not get the same exposure as I have got. So he is a victim of his exposure, his circumstances, that which conditioned him, right? So when you look at them as being conditioned by situations and opportunities, you can put yourself in their shoe and feel sorry for their behavior. How else, if I was in his situation, I too may have behaved in such immature way. I too may have been uncultured. I too may have been as crude as he is. So why should I get annoyed by his action? You feel for that person. You identify for that person and saying he is bereft of opportunities. I think Morris Maeterlinck, he puts it very beautifully. He says, happy and blessed are, let me put it, it's so beautiful that you should capture it for good. He says, happy and I'm purposely putting them in caps. I see a lot of echo today. Can you just check that, please? Okay. Happy, even this window needs to be closed, please. Happy and blessed are when wickedness stands forth revealed happy and blessed are means your life, your are means your life is happy and blessed when wickedness stands forth revealed. So when you see wickedness, crudity, imperfection, grossness revealing to you, your life will be happy and blessed when, as goodness bereft of a guide. So you look at that person as goodness, upper vis will be good, X will be good, but he is appearing wicked because he did not get the same guide as I got. He did not get the same exposure as I got. But if I look at people who are imperfect, as he only lacked exposure, he only lacked opportunities, he only lacked knowledge and wisdom like I lacked. So you give him the benefit of doubt. You are what you are because of opportunities which you didn't got, which I got. if I am better placed than you because I had certain exposure. So when you understand that, you feel sorry for him and forgive them. And who says this? Morris. If I'm not wrong, it is Morris. I hope I'm getting his spelling right. I think it is CS. Isn't it, Pritima? Motorlinks. Morris Materlinks. Sorry if I could be wrong with the spelling, but it's Morris Materlinks. A very, very, very famous quote. And this is so apt because it helps us look at imperfection with an understanding that I should not get annoyed. Even that he is helplessly expressing his vasanas because that fellow has no exposure. No exposure.
I fully agree with this, sir. But I just thought.
Sir, you can disagree with Morris Materlinks, sir. I have got nothing to do with him.
No, he fully
You
agree.
can agree or disagree with him. What has got to do with
So not just this.
Okay.
The concept that one
All
has to
Yeah.
understand that whichever way a person acts or behaves he's a product of his vasanas, and hence don't judge him harshly.
Yeah.
The principle is very sound. But I thought I'll just mention one thing, because in my own observation or throughout my entire life, be it all the circles I moved in, especially the traditional circles I moved in, unfortunately, in my opinion, the concept of karma has been distorted to mean that people get what they deserve. So he doesn't deserve any better. So if somebody is bad, he is bad because his karmas have made him bad. So consequently, the need to improve things goes away. And that's why I want to understand, because I think this is the whole concept is linked to the theory of karma, and we are eventually products of our past actions and present actions too, perhaps, and that's what's playing out. However, things can be changed. When you say should not judge a person harshly, I think a lot of judgments, harsh judgments have happened because you say he deserves it because of his karma. And I've seen it happen often, especially, I must say, in modern educated people may not say it too often, but traditional circles have seen it being said more often. And in my opinion, that attitude has to go. And if this is the fundamental concept which Gita teaches and our tradition teaches, where did we go wrong? And how should we understand karma?
Right, sir. So the question is in context to what I've said. How does the law of karma come in and justify our understanding? Because end of the day, law of karma says everyone gets what one deserves, right? You're right. And this is also indirectly saying the same thing, but rather to help you not to criticize that person. Not criticize the person, but be considerate that he is, because of his past actions, he is what is. So why should I be cynical? Why should I be judgmental? But just because somebody has lived a sinful life in the past, that does not mean there is no course of redemption or there is no course of upliftment from where he was or I was. So I should not, first and foremost, I have got nothing to do with your karma. You have got nothing to do with my karma. In fact, you have got nothing to do with your wife's karma. Your wife has got nothing to do with your karma. You both have got nothing to do with your children's karma. Nobody has got anything to do with anybody's karma. Please understand that. Our whole account is individualistic. Exactly, we said. Thanks. We clarified after you pointed out. A human being operates with individualistic vasanas, animals with collective vasanas, just a mention. But everything with reference to individual is individualistic. I have come alone because I have an account to settle. I will leave alone because I have settled my accounts. I can't take anybody along with me. Please don't go and ask your family, would you want to come along when I'm moving on? They will say, who are you? I have got nothing to do with you. You have come with a purpose, you settle your accounts and go. When your time has come, it ends all for yourself. Nobody has got anything to do with it. So let me not sit in judgment what you have done to deserve what you deserve. That's your karma. Let you deserve it. But it only consoles me to understand that you are helplessly paying for your own actions, which I have got nothing to do with, sir, please. I have got nothing to do with. But I shall not judge you what you are today. If that be so, all of us will be sinners. Because that means we have no room for redemption. There's no opportunity to grow. Vedanta doesn't say that. So all of us have the opportunity to change our future. So you are imperfect today because of your past exposure. Like, for example, there is being effort, the event that is coming up in the next few days here. All of us, all of you all are putting in effort, not just to say that I'm coming, I'll try to bring my family and friends, I'll spread the word. But the last I heard, Suresh was saying earlier in the group, and Setuji was saying that I am willing to sponsor 6 students. I am not available, but I am willing to sponsor. I'm coming, I'm willing to sponsor and give that exposure to X number of students so they can change. Now, am I to judge that person what he is today or what he will be tomorrow? I would not judge him what he is today, nor I judge with him what is tomorrow. We should not judge people, just assess. That's about all, what he is, that's all, and relate with him. So in Vedanta, and law of karma has been misunderstood. You ask, where has law of karma been misunderstood? They believe law of karma, they believe that it is predestined. Nothing in life is predestined. Nothing in life is predetermined as far as life of a human is concerned. Everything with reference to animalistic life is predefined. They can't change. An animal can't change. The moment it's born, it will die what it is, but not a human. So law of also karma says that, the thumb rule, or what is that, the fundamental principle of law of karma? Law of karma depends on what, do you know? Ramji, let me get them also involved. Sir, you already lost your point for this month, huh? Panigraji, you also lost, huh?
Why, sir?
Last week we told only once a month you will be allowed online. So
Oh,
for February already lost. You have to pay fine. We are creating this. It will come to you very soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
మర్చిపోయారా ఏంటి నేను మర్చిపోలేదు
లేదు సార్ టుడే there are some circumstances I will explain.
ల్యాప్టాప్ ఓపెన్ చేసుకుని అక్కడ కూర్చుంటున్నారు అందరు ఇంత పెద్ద ఫెసిలిటీ కన్సిడర్ చేసి చేద్దాం రండిరా అంటే ఎవరు రావట్లేదు మా ఇంట్లో కంఫర్టబుల్ ఉందండి అంటున్నారు అందరూ చెప్పండి సార్ what is the fundamental principle of law of karma?
Law of karma basically says that you get the result of your actions. So that is true that today's your position is because of your past actions, and your today's actions will determine your future. So this is basically what we discussed earlier, but I'm not able to recollect if there is some other principle that I'm...
One word answer, you're right. What law of karma says that, but what is it based on? Just turn this a little bit. What is it based on? What is the principle that supports it? Turn more. Thanks.
That is cause and effect.
The cause and effect is a principle that governs it. But what is the fundamental base to say?
No, sir, I am not able to recollect.
One word answer. Anybody here? Setuji? So can you pass the mic, Raviji, to him? What is the fundamental principle? In fact, that's what which differentiates an animal to a human.
Destiny.
Correct?
Destiny.
What do you mean destiny?
One word answer is
Now you'll try to fit an elephant also into an eye of a hole now because I say one word.
One is you have to pay the consequences. You have
Okay.
to face consequences for whatever you.
No, sir. To the point I said, many people believe or misunderstood law of karma. They believe law of karma that is predestined. I said nothing in life is predestined. What is opposed to predestined?
We can create our
Freedom of choice. What gives you the freedom of choice? Free will. What gives you the freedom of choice is
you can create
self-effort, or that one word is purushartha. A human being is defined by your capacity to choose. You can choose whatever you want, and where you get that freedom of choice is that purushartha which expresses through an individual. The purushartha makes us what we are. So just because what I am today, it doesn't mean I will be the same tomorrow. Cannot. It will not. So on what basis are you judging me? I already changed. I'm not the person whom you saw today. I'm a changed person tomorrow because I have chosen to change. I've made that serious choices that I will not do this or I will do that. I'm a changed person tomorrow. So therefore, I can't keep judging you on the past frame I assessed you, sir. Raviji, if I had assessed you based on your last frame of our last interaction, I can't assess you with that last frame because you have changed. You have moved on few different frames. You're a different person today than what you were other day. Therefore, never judge. Keep assessing. Judgment is almost rigidity. Assessment is fresh measurements. And that's where you give the benefit of doubt to the person through this understanding that that person is bound to change. But today he is imperfect because he did not get that exposure. So with that understanding, I don't have to engender animosity to you. I don't have to hate you. I don't have to get into a conflict with you. I only feel sorry for your behavior because you didn't get the exposure. Forget, one is to feel sorry for him. Another thing is to see how can I uplift you from where you are. That's going one step ahead. If I see somebody wrong, I can get annoyed by you and I can get into conflict and I can lose my peace of mind. That's the worst thing that can happen. Other side is first to forgive you for your behavior, for your crudity. Secondly, to go one step ahead and say, how can I uplift you from where you are? That perhaps is the true picture of forgiveness. Is not just to forgive for his mistakes, but to alienate him from his imperfections. So whatever I can do to uplift, that is a true sign of maturity. If I am truly at a higher stage, let me do something to uplift him. Can I do that? So that is literally a little stretch of forgiveness, but it gives a complete picture of forgiveness. So taking these two standpoints of the emotional and intellectual points of view gives us a holistic picture of forgiveness. But it's fascinating. As I said, there's every opportunity that we have to be able to practice this. There's every opportunity to practice this quality. Every time we interact with somebody, there's an opportunity to practice this quality of forgiveness. Every time. All right? Panigraji?
Guruji, I have a simple query with respect to the statement
So we
happy
can't.
and post hours.
Your audio is a little low. Can you
Uh,
do something to increase your audio?
Audio.
Speak a little louder. That would help.
Okay, okay, okay. Am I audible now, Guruji?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. In fact, when we are talking of empathy, of understanding, of not being judgmental about others, uh, what should be our, supposing somebody is in a position of power, position of authority, and he takes a decision which may or may not be good. He takes a strategic decision and that affects millions or thousands of people. So maybe this, whether this particular thing will hold good in that, can we tell that this poor fellow, he has not been exposed to that, probably he is taking decision like that or something like that. Because when we are talking in terms of equals or the people who are below us in terms of spiritual growth and things like that, then I think it perfectly fits into that. But suppose somebody is there and because of his wrong decision or because of some actions by that person, the mass gets affected or a group of people, they get affected. How will we should we take that?
I think it's the same way. Why? How would it be different? Why?
These are very prevalent these days. Supposing a person is holding the position of power,
No, I get
it
you.
could be organization, it could be in a public life, it could be in any place, and because of his maybe that according to him, he may be taking a right decision because of his own value system, because of his own priorities or his own vested interest or something like that. But it can affect a group of people which could be, who could be innocent, who could how to fit this particular thing in that context.
No, see, every action has a consequence. You're talking here of a leader taking a decision which might affect the organization, or a politician or a leader of a country takes a decision, it might affect a whole nation or a generation.
Yes.
So every action has a consequence. Now
Yes.
we have to accept that. Now, if there's something that you can do to influence that choice, please do. If you can't do anything, you have to accept it and endure it. That's about all. Don't complain. I can't complain. I can't do much about him because I have no say in his choice of action. And see in what way can I not become a victim of your actions. Especially when you're in an environment and if somebody is making wrong decisions and if it affects your growth, and if you believe that being there is not helping your growth, move on from the organization. Why should you remain there knowing that the leader is corrupt and he is promoting corrupt malpractices in the organization? And if you are there, it might not help your work culture, it may not help your ability to grow or bring that work satisfaction. If you feel the leader is not right, move on from the organization. You can't change him nor his decisions. Move on. You
I
can't.
think this is a shift from our approach that we can we forgive him or can we rather accept him the way he is.
That is no choice. You have no choice, no? You're talking as if you have a choice. You have no choice. You have to accept it gracefully. That is his personality. Every leader, so you may be in a position where you have seen many leaders coming and taking that posts. Same job, different leaders have approached the same work differently. That leader has brought his personality to that role he is playing. When he does that, you have to understand that's his personality. Same job of a manager, the different personalities playing the same role. Accept it and you got to deal with it. And if something doesn't resonate with you, you will have to understand that is his background, that is his work culture, that is his upbringing, that is his style of working. It may not be the right thing. So mentally, you don't have to start hating that person for that act. So just because somebody does a wrong thing, you should not hate that person. That's what is the point. We have repeatedly said, you hate the sin, but not the sinner. You hate an attribute or a quality in a person, but you don't have to tarnish that personality. He may be a gem of a person outside that role, but I don't have to judge that person based on the role he's playing. So that should help clarify. Okay, sir.
In fact, in chapter 12, we spoke of this attribute of forbearance. If there is something you can do about something, you do it. Otherwise, forbearance.
Endure. Endure, right? What you can't cure, correct.
He
Forbearance.
said forbearance. There, if you can do something about it, do. Otherwise, the devotee has forbearance.
Absolutely. Yes, Harish. Yes, sir.
Guruji,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
No, your voice is very feeble.
Is it better now, Guruji?
Now it can it get better?
Is it better now, Guruji? Is it
No,
clear?
it's very low.
What about now, Guruji?
Okay, just a minute, hold on. Maybe they're trying to
Sure.
increase the volume at our end. Yeah, can you please?
Is it clear now, Guruji?
Can you hear? No, it is still low. Do you have earphones? You can use earphones.
Okay, I'll connect back in about 1 minute. I'll get my earphones.
Yes, please.
Guruji, is it better now?
Much better. That's the thing.
Okay,
Because-
thank you, Guruji.
Much closer, to you. That's the reason we could hear you. Yes, please.
Guruji, when in the past I have been treated with crudeness or experienced wickedness from other people, and if I want to uplift that person at some point in the future, based on what we have just learned, because I've been treated with crudeness and wickedness, it's obvious that the person or people have no regard for me. That's why they treated me this way. So, in that context, Guruji, how do I even have an opportunity to uplift them from where they are?
Oh, no. It is not that they treated you in a particular way. You allowed yourself to be a victim of their nature. The person has been crude in the past. He remains to be crude today. He may remain to be crude tomorrow. But in the past, you have allowed yourself to be a victim of that person's actions. because you did not relate with them better. Don't blame his crudity. Blame your wrong relationship with that crudity. Yes.
But Guruji, the person is not crude with everybody every time. It is sometimes very personal towards
That's
the
all right.
individual sometimes.
Nothing to do with it. He has got a personal crudity to you. That is what a human being is. With reference to my relationship with him, I deal with it. I don't look at you how you deal with somebody else. No. If I have to deal with Apparao, I must see how Apparao deals with me. It doesn't matter how Apparao deals with his brother, how Apparao deals with his neighbor. How has that got to do with me? When I look at a person, it is my relationship with you. What do you bring to the table in our relationship? You may be as a person different to different people, but in fact, I need to be very, very specific to that particular person, to that particular quality at that particular moment. Because everything is changing. What you are today is not what you were yesterday, is not what you will be tomorrow. So the point I made may be difficult to digest. You suffered not because of his crudity, it's because you allowed it to affect you. Because if you had been careful, mindful, cautious, you would not be victim of his aggressive actions. Like I said, a fox is cunning. You can't change the nature of a fox, can you? Oh, that fox-natured person came and he, ungrateful to me, he backstabbed me. Why are you blaming his cunning attitude? If you knew his attitude, if you had been aggressive in your thought process, you may have dealt with him. I'm only taking an example, please, nothing personal here. So if you were careful, you would not become victim. Now you're perhaps far more careful where you will not allow that to happen. Why did it not happen in the past? Because you were not careful. So when you become victim, sir, if somebody is drunken driving or doing wrong driving, they don't follow, somebody is coming in the wrong direction. It's so common, at least in Hyderabad, I see. People do more wrong driving than right driving. People don't follow the rules than people follow the rules. They either don't wear helmets or they're taking turns without indicators or coming in wrong directions or over speeding or triple driving or talking on phone and driving. So there's so many people out there who are not following the rules. And if I get into trouble because of somebody is not following the rules, do I go and blame him? I cannot blame him, because the definition of a good driver is one who looks on for bad drivers. You can't say, I am driving safe, but he came and hit me. You have to be mindful. No, you must see who are the wrong fellows doing out there and you don't become victim of that. So you may be right, but yet if you become victim of others' crudeness, that is called passive good. Please get this definition right, Harish. You may be good, but if you become victim of others' wickedness or others' cruelty, you are defined as passive good. Example, in the Mahabharata, the Pandavas, Yudhishthira is a classic example of passive goodness, epitomization of dharma, yet he became a victim of the cruel wickedness of Kauravas and his brothers. So the whole gang conspirated against, it was a conspiracy against the cousins. So goodness does not mean you become victim of others' badness. You will not allow to become victim of others' badness. When you become a victim, it is passive. But the moment you don't become victim of others' badness, that is aggressive goodness. Aggressive goodness is Lord Krishna. So the Lord advised the Pandavas how to deal with the unruly Kauravas in the battlefield. So he broke the laws of warfare, which were not held in right regard. But yet Krishna said, you have to speak the language these fellows understand. Many such areas where the Lord violated the laws of warfare, or he manipulated. You have to talk language of manipulation to a fellow who only understands manipulation. It's like a fellow, your driver never comes on time. You have known him, but he's a very honest fellow, but he has no concept of punctuality. And if you have to go for an appointment somewhere, knowing his nature, you will give 45 minutes buffer. If you have to leave home at 10 o'clock, you will tell him, come home at 9:15. I have to leave 9:15. Why are you talking lies? No, I'm not talking lies. I'm only talking the language he understands. If I tell him 9:15, he'll come at 10 o'clock. So you will talk the language he understands. Correct? You have to be Chanakya. In Chanakya is what? It's just to use your intellect. But if I'm talking to a person who is conscious of his time, who is conscious of my time, I will not give you 45 minutes buffer and waste your time. Let's meet at 10 o'clock, sir. And right after the meeting, I'll say, thank you for your time. And done and move on. You'd have to be very sort of street smart in every act. You can't be goody-goody and become a doormat in others' lives. You cannot. So many times, people have told me, and one of the persons, Soumyama, has often told me, not only her, many people, that the moment you give this knowledge free, people will have no value for your knowledge. They will not have value. You put a tag. Srinivasji is one of them who keeps on harping. Don't take it. They will take it for granted. And that doesn't mean you're being commercial. Even for the event that's coming over the weekend, I said everybody who sits in the classroom that day has to contribute. Whether you're core or no core. You have to contribute. The only person not contributing is myself. Don't tell me I also must contribute. Everybody will. So that is far more contribution, sir. It's not, believe me or not, I have done, sir, in the last over 30 years, I don't know how many cycles of 18 chapters I've done. How many cycles? And how many years has it taken for us to read 13 chapter? (2017). 2017 is 2025. 9 years it has taken us to reach 13 chapter. So that is the dedication, that's the commitment I give to a class. Whether you are committed or not, I'm committed as a teacher. So over the years, so many chapters I've done, so many times I've done, innumerable times you're soaked in this Gita, but yet when it comes to preparation, essence of the Gita, I'm preparing as if I'm doing it for the first time. Believe me or not, I'm scanning 701 verse again. I'm scanning. I'm approaching it as if I'm talking it for the first time. You have no clue the number of hours of effort that will be put in to make sure that module is presented. You have no clue. Fresh innings. No, you may have the game with you, but it's a fresh innings. So it is a phenomenal effort, not easy. I don't know why I got to this, but why I got to this? Not take you for granted. So don't let anybody take you for granted. The moment you become victim of others' actions, it's your passivity. If you're aggressive, if you're operating on the intellect, sir, you will not become a victim of others' actions. You will not become a victim. So when I am offering this knowledge, there is no condition for you to come and receive this knowledge. Guys, not that you're abusing me. There is no tag for this. I am not going to put a price tag for these classes. Come and take as much as you want. These regular satsangs that go on. No way. I know, and you're not abusing me or you're not taking me for granted. The moment you abuse me or take me for granted, believe me, you will become an anadhikari. It's not me telling you not to come. But the moment you are a taker, the moment you are a non-sacrificer, You are unfit here. I don't disqualify you. The moment you are a taker, you are unqualified, disqualified. You're not wanted. In your own family, you keep on taking, your family say you're a burden. You become a liability. So don't be a taker. Anything else, sir?
No.
Clarified.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Guruji.
After all I said, he has nothing more to clarify. Thank you, sir. Yes, Pritima.
I was wondering how all this works in the case of children who are young, who are vulnerable, and many times helpless. It could be child labor, or it could be some other circumstance where they're subjected to more radical abuse. So they are not in a position to not say, I'm not going to be a doormat, because they don't have the necessary guide or, preceptor or an elderly person around who can pull them out of that very difficult situation. If somebody is doing them harm, many times children are scared to open up and speak. So I don't know. I don't know if how all this works in the case of children who are subjected to wrong, who are subjected to abuse. It could be child labor, it could be something else.
See, but still, the fact that doesn't change that they have a choice to change their situation, whether they are able to put in the effort or if are they putting in the effort is a question mark. But what doesn't change is the fact that you're a human. You have the capacity to change yourself or change your circumstance or be something else than what you are today. That possibility is there. Like that possibility that we all can spiritually transform and realize ourselves, it's very much there. All of us in this classroom can very much realize the truth, attain moksha in this Janma. And that's a matter of fact. You can write it on the wall that all of us in this classroom are eligible to attain moksha. The question is, how many of us will reach that end? Which would mean we all have to put in phenomenal effort. But what makes us that we have a possibility is that we have the possibility to change. You can put in that change and realize. So sometimes we seem to be victims, but in fact, while we are victims, we are also masters. Law of karma says when you look at the past, you are a slave. When I look at my past, I'm a slave of my past actions and consequences. I can't change it. But when I look into my future, I'm a master. So I'm only saying they have a possibility to do something to come out of it. It may not be a physical help. Sometimes situations demands that it brings the best out of them. When you are pushed to the corner, you have to fight. You fight back with the last ounce of strength to defend yourself. Sometimes when you are not pushed to the corner, we don't do that. Isn't it, sir? So when you're talking of children or people in situation where they are pushed to the corner, perhaps it kindles that last hope for sheer survival. That sheer survival instinct kicks in and they find a way to come out of it. Not everybody is blessed with opportunities. Not everybody is blessed with this knowledge. In spite of all the knowledge, are we doing our best to evolve? May not. It's just a question mark. But I hope I answered your question that there is a possibility to change. What triggers that change? Anybody's guess. All right. All right. So let's move on. Okay. Sorry, Ramji has something. Yes, sir.
No, just one comment in response to what Pritima was asking. That I read in newspapers yesterday that somebody killed his wife and it was shown as an accident. But a 4-year-old son actually went and told the police how his father killed his mother. Right. So it is possible that sometimes they do develop such courage and then conviction to do those things. But what I wanted to ask you was different, sir. Forgiveness, many times, ego comes in the way of forgiving people, and that is one thing I have observed in life. But also, I think about this boy who killed his grandfather last week or 2 weeks back in Hyderabad, and in the bargain, he injured his mother. I keep thinking what must be there in the mind of the mother now, that can she forgive him? Will she be able to apply these two principles, what you said, that, to forgive for the deficiencies the boy has got developed over a period of time, and secondly, to uplift him in future? It is something that as a mother, she may still attempt, but I think such a great personal tragedy or something that affects you so personally. In her case, it is this one, but in somebody else's case, it could be something else. But where you're affected so personally, that is where actually the situation becomes very tough. And how do people actually fight such situations and come out and forgive the other person?
So as there's a very famous saying, I'm sure you know it, when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Yeah.
So when the challenges are great, the great respond in a very different way. When you ask of how that mother can respond to forgive that act of her son towards her father, can you imagine what could have Christ gone through when he was being crucified on the cross? And what did Christ say? Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. So if you are being subjected to such atrocious actions, such unpardonable actions, yet if a man of that, it requires a man of that wisdom to be able to respond in that manner. And no ordinary person could have said that than a man of that stature. So it only gives us a possibility that even in that worst moments of acts, you can still have that thought of no personal vengeance or no egoistic act, but you are able to gracefully say, Father, forgive them. They are acting on sheer ignorance. It is just the sheer disparity between their mature stance and ignorance that they are able to forgive. The sheer disparity. It's like if I blindfold you, sir, and keep you in a dark room, blacked out curtains, and I blindfold you for an hour, and right thereafter I bring you outside into the open area, and I tell you open the eyes on a bright sunny day. Right from total blackout situation to seeing the sunlight, it will take a good few minutes for you to just get adjusted to the light, even with your eyelids closed. Forget opening the eyes, isn't it? It is so bright. I'm saying, what is the disparity between darkness and brightness and sunlight? Is the disparity between a man of wisdom, here we're talking of Christ, and
The ignorant.
Those who crucified him, crucifixed him. So it is very much a possibility, right from ground zero to ground 100, right from this level. It's only to measure your wisdom. You just need to measure your wisdom and see, can you forgive?
Yeah.
But very much a possibility, sir. Very much a possibility.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to Christ, I could answer your question. It's not answering the question, it's the question of there's a possibility that we all know there is a possibility. Otherwise, we would not know how to respond, right?
Yeah.
In this context,
Okay, Ramji?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
in this context, Guruji, there's a Zen master called Shichuri. He's sitting in his monastery one evening reading the Golden Sutra, and a thief barges into his room, brandishes a knife, and he says, "Come on, give me what you have, otherwise you'll be finished." Shichuri says, "You want money? Okay, there's a table there, it has a drawer, please pull it. There is some money there, you can take it. So the thief is stunned for a moment, goes to the table, pulls the drawer and takes the money. Then Shichuri says, actually, there is a small tax which I have to pay tomorrow. Leave some money for me, rest all you can take. So the thief, okay, he says, and he takes everything and leaves and goes off. So the thief commits such robberies at a number of places, is produced before the court. So naturally, wherever he has stolen, they are asked to come to the court, and Shichuri is called. And then the judge says, ask Shichuri, did this man come to your monastery and steal? Shichuri said, no, he came to my monastery. He wanted some money. So I said, okay, you take it. And he took it and left. So he didn't steal. But the other said he stole. He was in jail for about 3 months. And the day after 3 months, the thief was released from the jail. He went straight to Shichuri's monastery, fell at his feet, became his disciple. So that forgiveness, even when that other fellow is wrong. But here, Zen transforms without even attempting to transform.
That is their unassuming, unknowingly they are conducting themselves in such a manner. They don't have to be conscious. It's just their persona. That's how they are. Similar lines in the play Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. The priest transforms the convict, right? Okay. Ashama, I'll come to you in a moment. Yes, sir. Can you just pass the mic to? Okay, I have it. Yes, please. Can you switch on the mic, sir, please?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, two thoughts came to my mind when you're talking. One is the concept of forgiveness in terms of uplifting others, but just as a practice, it's more for your own internal growth, right? So the fact that you see that in that way, that you explain that you're able to see at his Vasana level or his own, that you're seeing him as a snapshot, it's only for your own personal growth. That means that you don't incur anger, you don't incur the effect of you're not sad because he didn't treat you right, or whatever that forgiveness is actually for your own internal growth, right?
It actually liberates you first.
Right? So there's a selfish aspect of it. In practice, it changes you by practicing the forgiveness.
But I wouldn't, sorry to say, I wouldn't say it's selfish. It is, it's the most, the noblest thing you can do to yourself and to the other. So it's like if I take something, sharp object, and I keep poking myself, you would say, are you mad? Why are you hurting yourself? And not doing that, and if I don't poke myself with a sharp object, you say that's not being selfish. Would you say, oh, you're being unselfish by doing it or not doing it?
So I think totally.
So mentally also, if you are hurting yourself, is taking a sharp object and poking yourself. And when you don't do that, it doesn't tantamount to being selfish, please. It's being common sense, rather. That I wouldn't do anything to hurt myself. So, in fact, we did make this point in the previous satsang. Actually, we are carrying on the discussion from the last satsang. I'm glad you brought it out, and very much what you said was established that your forgiving the other person is to primarily liberate yourself from the pain and the agony you go through by antagonizing or engendering, harboring hatred or animosity to the other person. Imagine if you have an animosity to the other person and you have to live in that same space with that person, it is a veritable hell. You can't, you're complaining, you bitterly keep blaming. You just say, that's what that person is, let that be. I will not throw a stone in the ditch and let the ditch and let that filth splash on me. I'll keep distance from that person. That's what he is. What can I do? I will not complain. Why am I complaining of that? You accept it and then you say, I have no choice, but I have to be in that space. But I keep my distance.
And then the second point was that I think even when you're forgiving, you said your action could be appropriate based on what that what you think is the actual sin, not the sinner, but the actual sin. You can change, you can modulate your response. In this case, the mother or whatever. He can still respond to the child in an appropriate manner, whether it's telling him or or giving him advice or whatever the action is, that she can still modulate, not necessarily forgiving him for the person, but just she can still modulate her action, right?
Absolutely. In other interpretation, which we did cover today itself, that once you understand somebody as their vasanas, assessing and accepting itself is forgiveness. So that sets the right tone of relationship, right? That's another angle of interpretation of forgiveness. Forgiveness is harmonious relationship, right? Forgiving is what? Relating with you well. That is forgiveness. There's no need to take a stance and say, I forgive you for what you're doing. Who are you to forgive me here? Huh? Who do you think you are? Then we'll get into another dharma. Who are you to forgive me? So I will keep myself peaceful. You live peacefully what you are. Okay? Setuji? Yeah, I was lost for words. Thanks for that.
Can one call it enlightened self-interest?
Selfishness, you are putting it that way?
Yeah, enlightened self-interest.
Can you can you give me a list of vocabulary of the various philosophical terms? I will need to embellish myself with all those terms. Can you? Gayatri Ma will contact you to the official channels. She'll have to send an official mail to her saying this is required. Ma, can you please do it? No, who are you? No. What was that word you used? Selfishness is equals? I need to enlighten myself to understand that. So a little while to get there. Not at all. No, you need to be little light-hearted, isn't it? The only thing, I take the opportunity with you. And thanks for allowing me to do that. Huh? Setuji, you wanted to say something, sir?
Can we say last discussion that we are the culprit and not the victim, and
at which context? With Haresh's context?
Haresh last.
Haresh, Setuji has something for you.
Hey, we alone are responsible for whatever we are into, and we should not think we are the victim, we are the culprit.
Can you explain that?
No, whatever, as you said, I always feel I am good and I do good to all, but people express ingratitude, or people are cheaters and all. But as you said, if I am passive good, I am actually I am the culprit for whatever problem I am into.
How do I become a culprit here?
Because I have not used intellect. I am not using intellect. See, what I feel is whatever we are into, we alone are responsible, and we cannot blame anyone or anything. It is the karma has been created by I am alone responsible. So many times everyone says I am the victim. I feel now from this, we are not the victims, we are the culprit for what we are into.
The other person is only instrument to face my karma. Other person is dishing out what I deserve. Mirror, correct. He is just what you need, what you deserve. Very true.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Harish. It's there in my book. Oh, thanks for letting me know that. I did not know that. No, I did not know that, sir. I did not know that, really. Terle, sir. Terle solna. Why you have to assume things? No, I can't recall. Maybe it's there. Okay. Anything?
I don't know.
What is quality panlama? We will spend a few minutes and do one more quality. Okay. The fifth.
Ashama wanted to talk something.
Yes, Ashama wants to clarify. Forgot that, ma. Yes, Ashama. Haji. Yes, ma.
Again, it is on the same topic, Guruji. My father used to say in Urdu, कोई इंसान किसी इंसान को क्या देता है? आदमी फकत बहाना है, खुदा देता है. So what probably he meant to say was, if somebody has thrown brickbats at you or insulted you or abused you, that person has only been an instrument through whom you have received it. So it is, I mean, we have to, in fact, get apology from them. I mean, we must say sorry to that person for having hurt that person, that person has reacted in such a way. Who am I to forgive anyone?
True. No one is to forgive anybody.
I mean, so now here I want to get clarification.
That phrase again.
कोई इंसान किसी इंसान को क्या देता है? आदमी फकत बहाना है, खुदा देता है.
Faqat bahana means?
Only an disguise, बहाना.
Right?
कारण बनता है. वो यानी खुदा, वो अगर जहर भी दे तो करूं शुक्र अदा, कोई अपना ही समझ के तो सजा देता है. उसने मुझे अपना समझा, इसलिए मुझे ये पनिशमेंट दी.
इसलिए मैंने आपको अपना समझ के आपको मैंने हिंदी में विजडम कॉन्वर्सेशन ट्रांसलेशन करने को दिया आपको. So no better person than her. She is the one who is working on translating. Pushpama and Ramji are working on Telugu, and Gortima, Ashama and another her relative of ours are working on Hindi. Wonderful, ma. Yes, you want to ask something further?
I mean, this, of course, we should not apply to Jesus, because that is a different story.
Why it should not apply to Jesus? It was his the karma that he has to.
Yeah, probably. We don't know.
Probably every applicable to every human being. Yeah, it's applicable to every human being. No?
He was probably that consciousness that took form came as a human being.
No, please. As a student of Vedanta, don't say that. Consciousness is not born.
True.
So it doesn't take reincarnation concept is a false concept. There is nothing.
Even about Lord Krishna and Lord Ram and.
Question of reincarnation. Please, intellectually what we say, one who attains realization has exhausted the vasanas, there is no more seed for future birth. So there cannot be anything called as a rebirth of or reincarnation of a realized soul. That cannot happen. And consciousness being reborn again doesn't exist. That doesn't exist in the philosophical parlance.
Okay.
But what Christ did is he achieved that state of realization during the course of his journey.
Okay.
So during the course of his spiritual journey, he has elevated himself to a point of he attained salvation. Like any other master. But it's not possible that a master is born realized, because if you are realized, you're not born. There's nothing to be born. What are you born for? Because vasana is a sign of ignorance of the self. If you have vasana, only then you'll be born. If you have
they say that जब अधर्म बहुत बढ़ जाता है तो भगवान को रूप लेना पड़ता है धर्म स्थापित करने के लिए.
Through a man of realization it happens, not that the realized soul is born. The Atman communicates through a man of realization. A man becomes an instrument to Spread the dharma. So every individual who speaks the self is to the extent he has realized the self, isn't it? So a man of realization is 100% self-realized. We all are relatively self-realized. To the extent I have realized the self, to that extent the self is speaking through me. So this embodiment is a mere instrument for the Atman to communicate through me to you. That's all. So when I communicate, it is Atman through me, Atman devoid of me. That's about all. So what
that is what even Guru Nanak said.
Atman speaking to you?
Right.
Even Guru Nanak ji said the same thing.
Yeah. He said, I am not God. I'm just a messenger of God.
You can say that. Very true. But Atman is not born. Atman expresses through.
Through.
To what extent it expresses? To the extent you have realized the self. Atman expresses 100% in a realized soul. 50% to a man who's only realized 50%. 10%, 10%. The same Atman spoke then, the same Atman speaking now, the same Atman will speak in the future. That's about all. But Atman is not born, nor Atman is dead. The embodiment is born, the embodiment will go one day. Don't get bound to the embodiment. Relate to the Atman that is expressing through me. It's all you got to relate to. Okay, ma?
Another one on a lighter note.
Please.
हैरान हूं मैं अपनी ही हरकतों से. I'm surprised at my own activity or whatever you would, हरकत यानी whatever I do. हैरान हूं मैं अपनी ही हरकतों से. सब कुछ मांग लिया प्रभु से, सिर्फ एक प्रभु को छोड़कर.
Sad part. सब कुछ मांग लिया सिर्फ प्रभु को छोड़ के. Very true. There is some beauty in your saying, ma. No doubt there is so much in the saying, but there's some beauty in your saying. So glad to make this whole exercise so holistic. Surely everybody contributes to that satsang. You're coming. Your good name, sir? Gautam Garu, you would have seen how diverse the dialogues are. This is the uniqueness of the teachings that we bring to inclusive right through the journey, the teachings. This is a USP. In fact, to what you have said, same thing Adi Shankaracharya says in Bhajagovindam. Remember the verse? Which verse? Don't see the, I'm not saying you to share, but you know the which verse it is. What Ashrama said, same thing Adi Shankaracharya says.
In the context of
context, Gita. No, context, Gita. No, we understood Sureshji very well.
follow to what Ashama said.
Hey, by mistake we put the table. That table will be removed from there. By mistake we put the mic there. I only put it there.
It's a beautiful line of Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
Anji.
इतना तो वरदान देना प्रभु कि अंतिम दस्तक देने जब तू आएगा, कम से कम तब मैं दरवाजा खोलूं. अंतिम दस्तक देने जब तू आएगा, कम से कम तब मैं knock on the door.
Clarify for those who don't understand.
दस्तक is knock on the door.
Okay.
तो इतना तो वरदान देना प्रभु के अंतिम दस्तक देने जब तू आएगा, कम से कम तब मैं दरवाजा खोलूं.
Means I should be able to walk. I'll translate it.
Give me this boon, O Lord. At least the last time when you come to knock on the door, at least at that time, I should open the door.
Bhajagovindam, this one is Parame Brahmani Kopina Sakta. Who is going to, like.
It's all right. The verse that you're rightly referring to, Balas Krida Saktah Tarunastavat Taruni Saktah Vruddhastavat चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः. As a child, you're lost in toys and trinkets. As a youth, you're caught up in passion. As an old age, you're caught up in worry. Alas, nobody is thinking of me. The Lord is saying, Parame Brahmani Kopina Sakta, you've forgotten me. When are you going to think of me? The Lord is complaining. The same lines as Ashama said, you know, which in its extension you also said. I forgive you, please, Solungo. Today I have no choice but to forgive you. Tomorrow I forgive you or not, I do not know. Because he wants to say one more line. Extension. So I said, we forgive you and then you tell.
In the context of this Bhajagovindam, what you said,
Sir, I like the way you say in the context.
in the context only that flash is happening.
Flash will happen. Lightning, the flash, lightning was there.
This Bhajagovindam shloka, it is captured beautifully in an Anup Jalota bhajan.
Anup Jalota.
Yeah. बचपन बीता खेल खेल में भरी जवानी सोया बचपन बीता खेल खेल में भरी जवानी सोया देख बुढ़ापा अब तू सोचे क्या पाया क्या खोया देर नहीं है अब भी बंदे ले लो उसका नाम रे बोलो राम बोलो राम बोलो राम राम राम.
Sir, I don't know the hidden meaning behind clapping. Are they genuinely appreciating for the feeling or they are saying, Jana Gana Mana Adi? Yeah, correct. Namada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.